What's going on, guys? Tully Television here. Thursday night stream coming at you 8 p.m. Eastern Time. A couple minutes late. Sorry about that, guys. I got a little finagled on something here as I was starting. I hope everyone is doing good. I hope I find everyone in good spirits. Um, and I want to thank everyone for stopping by. I want to thank everyone who's subscribed. I want to thank everyone who has been commenting, sharing, all that beautiful stuff. Um, Tonight we're going to be talking a couple of things. I'm going to give you some quick thoughts on Loki. I'm going to talk about The Quiet Place 2 a little bit. Against the movie The Heights that came out last weekend, I believe. And I want to talk about Batman and Catwoman and the oral sex dilemma that they found in the Harley Quinn um, season 3 episode, in one of the season 3 episodes that they were going to make. But before we get into all of that, I want to thank everybody, like I said, for those who have subscribed. Thank you. Anyone who's watched or shared or commented, thank you so much for helping our community grow. Only through you guys can we grow this channel. Every like, every comment, every share adds to the YouTube algorithm, and it helps the channel a lot. So I hope that I've been able to find uh, I hope I've earned your subscription today. But I also want to thank Mrs. Tully Television for always supporting me, always being there. I want to thank my guy Tim Smokey Bishop, best editor Irish bastard like me can have. I want to thank Jordan, obviously, for the times he's come by and helped with videos. Um, but yeah, low key, I've made a couple. I've done 2 videos on the first 2 episodes of Loki that I've sent to my editor. Um, so I'm gonna upload those once I get those in. But I just want to give a quick few thoughts on Loki. Um, there's a lot of people that are not liking it for some reasons, and I've come across a few people that really are enjoying it and really like this Loki series so far. If you like Loki, hit like on the button there. If you subscribed already and you've hit all those notification bells, um, excellent. The next challenge is for you to like this video. Um, but yeah, Loki, man, I'm still iffy on this show. Uh, I'm not saying it's a horrible show. The production looks really nice. The acting is stellar. Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson do really interact with each other really well. Um, my personal problem with the show so far, as I've gotten into it with the videos I've made, that I'll be uploading, in the next week or whatever. Too much exposition, and I understand you can never have enough exposition, especially when you're trying to do what you're doing for the MCU Phase 4, which is trying to build a new big bad that everyone has to gather together and fight against. That's why I'm willing to let these Infinity Stone things go, like them being useless at the TVA. Um, there's always got to be something more powerful, and I get that. Um, I kind of feel like we invested a lot of time for them to just be paperweights, but whatever you got to do to move forward. I guess the story. There's a lot of things in comic books that I didn't like either, but I still would give those books a chance. So giving the show still a chance. I think the second episode was better than the first. It definitely left off on a better cliffhanger because to me, it was obvious that was a Lady Loki type of scenario. The actor that was playing the hooded figure until she revealed herself didn't have the same height or anything as Tom Hiddleston. So it was either Lady Loki or Kid Loki, but as a teenager or something, because the figure was smaller, and more compact. But I'm still giving the show a chance. I think that's going to progressively get better. I just think that we have to understand that for the show so far after 2 weeks is a 7.5 out of 10. But I have a friend, Jordan. I have a friend, um, Jordan, as you've met through the channel. He gives it a 9. He really is digging the show, and hey, you know what? No harm, no foul. That's what pop culture and entertainment's all about. The little discrepancies that we can debate and bring forth the evidence that we have to say why I'm thinking it's a 7.5 to his 9.0. You know what I mean? Um, that's a 1.5 star difference. And it's a difference that sometimes makes or breaks someone else wanting to see the show or waiting for the movie to go on DVD or something like that, which is kind of useless nowadays. You don't have to really wait because they do the streaming and the movie release now. It's weird stuff. But that's my quick thoughts on Loki. And the only other thing that I want to see out of the Loki series is I want to see Mobius on a jet ski by the end of season 1. He loves jet skis so much. He's never been on one. These time agents don't ever do anything but be time agents. That motherfucker needs to be on a jet ski. Jordan said, "Forget Elf on a Shelf. It's Loki on a jet ski." I thought that was funny. Hashtag that goes to Jordan. um, let's see. I wanted to talk about The Quiet Place too, and it went up against this musical that came out called The Heights, and it's about I guess the day in the life of people who live in Washington Heights, New York, and it was expected to make a decent amount of money at the box office. It was expected to, be the number one movie in America when it was released this past weekend, um, but it wasn't. It kind of flopped, and The Quiet Place 2 slowly crept into being the number one movie again. I think it's just made over $100 million. The Quiet Place. I mean, but that's been since it's out. It didn't make $100 million in one weekend. I think those days are kind of done a little bit. At least for a while, still $100 million weekend or whatever like that. Especially with streaming the same day. Um, but yeah, The Quiet Place 2, which I have not seen yet, and I have not seen The Heights yet, so I don't really know if I'm hearing great things about The Quiet Place too, and it's a movie I'm really interested in seeing. If you've seen The Quiet Place, let me know down below what you thought of the first one, and if you've seen the second one or have interest in seeing the second one, let me know down below too. I think John Krasinski and Emily Blunt did a really good showing in the first one, and I like how John Krasinski um, had himself off in the first one. You know what I mean? So I'm really interested in seeing how uh, the mom travels around with the baby and stuff like that, and see how that interacts with a lot of um, the surroundings, because babies are usually loud when they start crying. If you have any experience with children at any level, they're loud. You know what I mean? It's really hard to kind of shut them up sometimes. So it's going to be a kind of an interesting dynamic on that. Um, the Heights, like I said, I'm not big on musicals. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't watched too many musicals where I feel like, oh yeah, I need to see that musical. Um, I just the fact that who breaks out in song and dance choreographed to the T. What are these people doing during the day? You know what I mean? That they can have like that. I don't know. If you like musicals, that's fine. I'm not here to dump on your like movies or anything like that. I'm just not the big Quiet Place 2 guy. I mean, Quiet Place 2 guy. I'm not a big musical guy. I'm looking at my notes, and that's why I said that. But I think what happened was with the Heights was that it was, I don't know if it was the marketing. I don't know if it was um, like I've seen commercials for the Heights, but I had no interest in seeing it um, because it's I just again with the musicals, but the creator, the writer of this movie got a lot of flack, and he is not a white person. And the flack that he got was that there wasn't enough Afro Latinos and Latinas in the Heights movie. That the accusation was that they used a lot of white passing Latinos, and only one darker skinned character was in it. And so he got a lot of flack for that. And I've never lived in Washington Heights. I'm aware of Washington Heights. I grew up in Jackson Heights, Queens. So I would have a little bit more of a thing of knowing the culture that was there when I was growing up, which was like a lot of Indian and Asian influences in the neighborhood, Colombian, um, Irish. The Irish is in Jackson Heights a lot. But yeah, and for me, it was a lot of Colombian and Asian blacks, black folks and Asian folks in Jackson Heights. So I could tell you about that. But like I said, in Washington Heights, I didn't really know the mix of people that lived there. So I couldn't tell you if it was an authentic movie or not. But I mean, it looks like an interesting movie. Again, it's just the musical thing for me is kind of iffy. But if you've seen it, if you've seen Washington, if you've seen The Heights, let me know. It was expected to make like $40 million the opening weekend. It only made 11 million, and that's I see like when you make a movie and you're given say a $20 million budget, you have that $20 million as the director to go and I want this actor, that actor, these extras, and I want this set, that set, within budget. And when you proceed to give the company the finished product, they match that movie budget for advertising. So if that movie that you're handing in is a $20 million movie, they're going to try to invest $20 million into advertising for that movie. So they want at least $40 million back off that movie, at least to break even. And I don't know how much money was put into the Heights, but an $11 million opening weekend is kind of iffy, and I don't know if it's going to really uh, do much better. Uh, you know, I don't know, but I also wanted to get into. So there's this Harley Quinn animated series on HBO Max. Okay, and it's a pretty graphic series. It's definitely not for children, and there's definitely a lot of adult jokes and stuff in that show. So, you definitely don't want children watching this show. But what the big problem is with this show, I guess, for an episode that was going to come out in season three, was that Batman and Catwoman were going to have an intimate scene together in which Batman was going to pleasure Catwoman with his mouth. Um, and DC asked for that not to be portrayed because of uh, worry how it's going to look if it came out. And to say that like heroes don't do these type of things. No, just one moment. Oh, Roku, you gave me my lemonade so nicely. Um, Back to real heroes not performing oral sex. I find that to be such a ridiculous reason not to have it in your show, especially if it's geared towards adults, and has been advertised as such that this show is for adults. And it'd be kind of selfish of Batman not to go down on Catwoman. You know what I mean? Um, Real heroes go down on their lovers, okay? Not all heroes wear capes, but all heroes go down. And especially like, it's not like they're showing, it wasn't like they're going to show Batman going down on everybody else or like a bunch of people. I wonder if Batman was going to go down on the Joker. Would that be so woke and brave, and that would have been let go? Um, I don't know. I just know that going down on your lover isn't a big deal, and if that's what they wanted to put in, I think that would have been a pretty. Yeah, yeah. It's we need to get HBO Max. Eternally Grateful Seas. It's on two seasons, and they're making season three now, or season three is out, or it's about to come out. It's like on the fringe of coming out. So we should do that HBO Max app to watch that. Mrs. Tully Television. But yeah, I find that in a show that portrays heavy violence and such, I don't know why the limit is then oral sex. Um, when you're having bullets going through people and this and that. I don't know. I don't understand why that was such a big issue, especially like there was a Batman comic that showed his wanker. Um, there's been a lot of, uh, I mean, back in the day before even the Comics Code Authority took over content for comic books, before that became obsolete again, we used to have Dick Grayson Robin sleeping in the same bed as Batman, Bruce Wayne. And no one was concerned about the pedophilia overtones of that at the time. But they weren't about Batman pleasing his lover with his mouth. Uh, you know, weird, weird worlds that we can live in sometimes. Um, I don't know. I'm one for allowing these things to be put into entertainment and books and movies and stuff because to hear people say that these comic books or these movies or these shows entice things, um, too much of anything, too much consumption of anything is bad as it is. And I mean too much shopping, too much eating, too much drinking alcohol, too much smoking bud, too much smoking crack, too much sex, too much, you know, anything can be overdone. And so, yes, we want to be aware of that, as we're going into consuming these things. But I don't understand what the thing is with oral sex. Uh, like even DJ Khaled had said that he will never go down on his wife. I don't know what the fear is of the vagina. The vagina. We do not understand the vagina, so we must be scared of it. Uh, but the same guys who don't want to go down on vagina sure don't mind getting their knob slapped once in a while, I tell you. uh, but yeah, if you want to try to say this is going to entice people to do these things, I just still want to ask those people a question. Video games and movies cause violence, right? Uh, Sex in movies causes people to have sex. When the movie Kids came out, holy, people blew their fucking mind because teenagers doing drugs and drinking and having sex, like in any generation. Oh my god. Guess she didn't mind because she's getting the money. Yeah, exactly. Um, but as far as these things are concerned, I just want to know uh, what game was Hitler playing? Uh, and I'm not defending him at all. I'm just saying if movies do these things, games do these things. I like to know what GTA game he was playing. I like to know what movie he was watching to entice these thoughts that he had. We'll go back even further. What was it that America was watching when slavery was running rampant? You know what I mean? What was America? What was in the theaters back in the 1860s? Um, I think PS1 was out then, right? In the 1860s. I'm trying to remember what games were out. Um, Plantation Simulator. I mean, there was none of these things, and people were still acting and treating each other like shit. You know what I mean? So, using entertainment, uh, the only thing that may be wrong with entertainment and these things is that that's easier accessible to children, perhaps. But that's why they put parental guidance on uh, games. That's why they put parental guidance on movies, music. You're even allowed to set parental controls on your phone or iPad or whatever it is you're giving your children to prevent them from finding certain things you're not ready for them to find. People have gotten too used to letting the screen babysit your kid. And I'll tell you, as much as I'm a small YouTube channel at the time, at this present moment, and yes, my goal is to get bigger to reach more people. I'm not a babysitter, though. You know what I mean? The people that you see behind the screen, in the screen, those are not babysitters. Those are people, those are entertainers that are doing a job. And they're not your kid's babysitter. You know what I mean? And so it's up to you as the parent who brought a person into the world that didn't ask to be born in the world in the first place. It's your job to make sure that they're consuming the things that you're okay with and not be mad at corporations or companies for the things and the contents that they put up because every person has done something wrong in their life, and every person can be brought up on that. So let's just try to keep that in mind when it comes to these type of things. Uh, don't ever rely on the TV. Do You gotta do the hard work yourself and raise your own child. Um, the last thing I'm going to talk about is Five Night Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay. Now, what I'm going to talk about is that the creator of Freddy's Five Nights at Freddy's, Scott Chowthon, Cawthon, he recently had to retire. He created the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, and he recently had to retire because it came out that he donated like $2,000 or something to Trump and the Republican Party. And before I go on, I want to preference this by saying I've never played the game. My son has played the game, so I'm familiar with the game that way. And also, I'm familiar that a lot of big YouTubers at the time were streaming the game, like Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie. These guys were, because it had some good jump scares in the franchise and the games. So it was bringing in a lot of content. It was bringing in a lot of audience members for them. And there's several parts to this game. It's like a lore now, merchandise and stuff. I'm surprised they didn't even make a cartoon out of it. I'm surprised they didn't do that. But when people found out that he donated money to Trump, that's when they wanted him to, like, step down and not be involved with this property anymore. And he did. But, I also want to say I'm not the biggest Trump guy. This has nothing to do with, being a Trump supporter myself. But I will say that he did have a right to donate money to Trump if he wanted to without fear of repercussion of losing his job. Like I said, I'm not a Trump guy like that, but I'm not any guy for politicians. I'm not a Joe Biden guy. I'm not a Hillary Clinton guy. I'm not a big fan on any of these politicians because they all lie and they all get caught in lies, and no one wants to acknowledge that. Democrats and Republicans are just as fault for things in this country, you know, both. You know what I mean? And listen, I'm not saying all Republicans and all Democrats are trash. Not all liberals and conservatives are trash. If you get to know people, most of us want the same thing. You know what I mean? We want to be able to live in peace with each other. We want to be able to have a job and support our family. And I hate getting, you're a conservative or you're a liberal. No one is liberal or conservative 100%. You know what I mean? If I look at, like, for instance, guns, okay? I'm a guy who thinks that everyone should be able to have firearms in their house if properly trained with it and knows how to handle the guns safely. On the same hand, I'm not too sure why people need 30 assault rifles in their house and then like 50 handguns and stuff. But just as much as I'm a collector of comic books and entertainment and pop figures, and posters and stuff, people really like guns. You know what I mean? They like going and shooting guns. Have you ever shot a gun? And I'm not saying at people, but shooting guns is pretty fucking fun. Uh-oh, I rhymed gun with fun. Congress is going to try to cancel me. Shooting guns is fun, bro. You know what I mean? Not at people, and unfortunately there are people with mental defects that think that is cool. And yes, those people do need to be held accountable for their horrendous actions, like the people who do mass shootings and school shootings. I'm a firm believer. Punish them, punish those motherfuckers. You know what I mean? But it shouldn't take away from the average Joe down the street who works for Lowe's or who works for the deli that feels like he needs a handgun in his house because he lives in a shoddy neighborhood. You know, I've lived in shoddy neighborhoods before. I've lived in some really crap neighborhoods that I've had to carry a weapon on me just to get home. And these are people that I grew up with, that I know in my own neighborhood, that I are that I, but they're you know, when you're on some scheming stuff, when you woke up and chose violence that day, you don't care if you know me or not. If you're looking for whatever it is you're looking for, you're going to try to get it. You know what I mean? And so, but that guy should be able to feel like he should be able to protect himself. I'm a firm believer in, say, the sex work industry. Think it should be legal. I think prostitution should be legal. I think it's stupid that people get arrested for prostitution. But if you have a video camera and you're filming it and you say you're shooting a porn, that's okay. She's not just doing it to do it. Most of the time, they're getting paid to do that. So I don't understand how porn is acceptable, but prostitution isn't. What do you need? What do you need? A camera? And I know in Vegas that's legal because you got the what is it, the some ranch out there, the Cat House or something like that. There was a show on HBO about it. It's a legal brothel, and for the most part, um, and they could be lying, but for the most part, these girls would say they don't really get too many guys that they need to be thrown out. You know, but there's guys out there. Listen, there's guys out there that are lonely. There's guys out there that don't know how to talk to women or men, whatever your sexuality is. There's people out there that don't know how to really socially converse with other people properly for whatever reason, whether it be anxiety, not being taught how to converse properly with people or anything like that. And people grow up into their 30s and 40s being virgins. And that must be kind of a lonely life in a way. I'm not saying that sex is everything, but when you're 30 or 40 and you haven't had sex, sex is everything almost, because it's like, why haven't I had sex? Why didn't I lose my virginity yet? What's wrong with me? And if you can have a woman out there that is like, well, I'll take one for the team, but you got to pay my light bill. More power to it. More power to it. I mean, what's the difference between a couple doing that? You know what I mean? At least there, you're cutting right to the chase. You're cutting right to the chase. I need my light bill paid, and you want to get laid. What are we going to do about it, Billy Bob? You know what I mean? And like for me, I with the missus, I'm not saying I'm paying for sex when it comes to her, but girlfriends and wives do expect presents, at least on anniversaries and on birthdays at least. They want at least flowers and gifts on Valentine's Day, you know what I mean? Even though us men think that that's bullshit and it's a money-making scheme and this and that. For all the things that your wife does for you, cleaning your shitty drawers and ironing your clothes and trying to make you dinner and trying to do this or that, if that's that type of woman, get her a goddamn bouquet of flowers. You know what I mean? Pay out a little bit for her. You know, get her a nice gift if she's doing all these things for you. That's what I'm meaning. But sometimes guys don't want to go through all of that either, of having a relationship. They just want to bada boom, bada bing. You know what I mean? Businessmen who are rich, they hire these escorts to go to business functions, to go to that function. And if he's feeling a little froggy after the situation and he's got to throw another $1,000 into it or whatever to just get a little bit of nookie, then that's what's up. You know what I mean? Um, so that's what I'm meaning about being liberal, conservative about things. I'm very conservative when it comes to crime and punishment. I think that if we had some of these uh, punishments that we used to have back in the day, tar and feathering or quartering, you know what I mean, where you get tied to four horses by your arms and legs and then they just run in all different directions and you're left there with a pile of guts and blood. You know, thieves getting their hands cut off for thieving. Maybe it won't prevent the crime 100%, but at least will make other people think twice. That was always my thing on that. Um, but yeah, so I'm a little. I got off the topic a little bit there, but yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that this guy had to step down a little bit because of donating money to someone who he thought was a better contender for the job than the other guy. And like I said, I don't have to agree with him. I don't have to agree with him giving money to Trump, but I don't think he should have lost his job over that either. I don't think anyone should lose their job over that. I don't think anyone should lose their platform over donating to a political party or a religious party unless it's proven that that money is being used to hurt people. And then yes, take them down. You know what I mean? But if it's just because he thought that someone was going to be better at the job, however silly that might have been to think, in your opinion, he shouldn't have had to lose his job. Just because someone doesn't agree with you doesn't mean they're wrong or right. It just means that they don't agree with you. And we used to live in a time that was okay. We can have a difference of opinion, have a little healthy debate, bring forth the facts that we think support our ideas. And sometimes you'd be able to sway someone and sometimes not. But all that really matters is at the end of the day, you leave each other with respect and stuff. You know, so um, yeah, not like I said, just not a big fan of that of this guy having to lose his job. It's not like he's losing out on any money. I'm sure he's laying on a fucking fat pile of money now. This guy who created Five Nights at Freddy's. But I'm really just baffled how people can just lose their job like that over um, a small portion of people who want to complain on Twitter. You know, these Twitter mobs are getting a little ridiculous. The last thing I want to talk about before I head out for the night is another thing that I'm kind of frustrated me a little bit with Scarlett Johansson. Actually, I've been a big Scarlett Johansson fan since Home Alone 3. You're not a Scarlett Johansson fan unless you know about Home Alone 3, okay? uh, but I digress. Scarlett Johansson recently came out in an interview and she was saying how now that she's in her 30s and a mother, she realized that she looks at herself differently and looks at the world differently and was a little disappointed on how Black Widow was seen in the MCU as a piece of meat or um, eye candy, so to speak. Eye candy. But here's my take on that. My take on Black Widow was that Black Widow was trained to use her body to trick these stupid men into releasing information or putting themselves in a situation in which she can take them down. You know, she was using her brains. Yes, she had to use her body, but it's to get to an ultimate goal. She knows that she's not a uh, that type of woman. And if you look at the Black Widow history, most Black Widows were trained to kind of be that type of uh, soldier and assassin. It's not a surprise to send in a hot woman and a guy would be gaga over her and her looks, and you know, let her in and try to Mac Daddy her, and then gets you know throat cut or something, or shot because she was really an assassin. It's smart, not sexist, in my opinion. And it's kind of easy now with the Black Widow being done now in the MCU, at least her version of Black Widow. It's easy to say this now when she's not doing it anymore. And she made all the money off of it, you know, and she wants to be a better symbol for young women and stuff. And that's okay. You know what I mean? I understand. I know there's movies with her that she was nude in. So I was wondering why she's not talking about those movies either, in which she was in sexual situations. So I don't know why the Avengers or the Marvel MCU itself is getting blamed for and not blamed, but for being pointed out for giving her a spicy look. Like I said, Black Widow has a spicy look, and heroes have a. I don't get the heroes. I get maybe that there's heroes who are. I get maybe there's people who are in great shape but are ugly on the face. Okay, I listen, man. We all got our downfalls with physical attributes. Mine is the lack of motivation to work out, and I got a fucking gut. All right, I'm not oblivious to that. I'm also not oblivious that I could not be a serious contender for a Captain America movie at this stage of my life. Today, if Kevin Feige called me up today at 8:45, June 17th, and was like, "Bart, you ready to do this Captain America movie where you're Captain America?" I'm gonna be like, "Kevin, you do you need a full body shot? When do you need this filmed again? Tomorrow." No, Kevin, I can't do that tomorrow. I'm not Chris Evans shape. You know what I mean? I'm not Chris Hemsworth in shape. I mean, even Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. did some sort of workout regimen, even though he was in an iron suit. He did some sort of workout regimen. You know what I mean? In real life to get ready for that part, because you still have to have the strength to have that suit on you and to have the cardio to go long term in a fight. And, so I don't understand where people are like, only good looking people are superheroes in these superhero movies. Well, not for nothing. Who wants to watch a bald, fat old man running around trying to chase criminals that he's not going to be able to chase? It's the point of a hero is it's the peak of physical perfection that they're at, and uh, that's what is such a thrill for us to see the feats that we can do as people. And I think she should be proud of her work in the MCU. I think she should be proud of her work as Black Widow. And I'd hate to see her really regret doing that part because she did a great job in it, and The only thing I ever want to really say to these people sometimes is if you're so disappointed in what you did and how you were treated, why not give the money back that you made on the movie? Or if you don't want to make the money, if you don't want to give the money back, right? Why don't you give the money that you made off the movie to a foundation that helps women uh, view themselves better? You know what I mean? Why don't you help women who are truly in need of money and help and resources then and worrying about looks? You can donate that money you made off of Black Widow to a woman's shelter. Um, I myself was in a shelter many years ago, about 14 years ago or something, like 13 years ago, something to that degree. And there was a lot of single mothers in there with 2 or 3 children, and a lot of families in there. And, you know, it's not, I know that people can't help everybody, but if you're going to complain about how the world looks at you and how Marvel made you look or this studio made you look, then why don't you take that money and donate it to somewhere where you can say, I'm more than a skin tight black leather suit. You know what I mean? I'm also uh, this person that has donated this or donated that. Um, and you don't even necessarily need to share that information. You can just donate to donate, and no one has to know that you donated. But don't sit there and complain after you made all these tens of millions of dollars and now be mad at how you were made to look. You know, I just find it uh, really interesting stuff sometimes when people do that. I don't know. But I'm going to start wrapping it up, guys. I want to thank everyone for stopping by tonight. I want you to let me know your thoughts on any of the comments. Leave any comment on any of the topics I talked about, whether you agree with them or not. And I really appreciate you guys. It means so much to me and to Tully Television. Every like, every subscription, every share, it lets us get into that algorithm. You know, we need to get into that algorithm's ass. You know what I mean? We need to get all up in that shit, okay? And then spread it open and let the world know that Tully Television is here. You know what I mean? But thank you for everyone for stopping by. To any new viewer that hasn't subscribed yet, to any old viewer that hasn't subscribed yet, I hope that I've earned your subscription. You hit that red subscribe bar down below. You hit all on that notification. I'm going to leave some links to my Facebook and Instagram and Bonfire down below in the description box. I'm going to leave my editor's profile, Facebook profile down in there too. If you want to get a hold of him for any editing needs. And again, really thank you so much, everyone. It means the world to me. And until next time, peace, Snookums.